giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, well, I don't wanna jinx it, baby, and twist myself at the spine. Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just twist your body and mine. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby. So I stand up and speak my mind. Oh. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're chilling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're channeling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, oh, oh.
I guess we don't have to wait for the whole countdown to go away because no one's gonna watch anyway. So the countdown was just for me to set up the stuff here. But yeah, I guess this is like the first video of this. I don't even know if it's gonna be a series, but think I lost my mind in a way that in the age of AI, when you can just say a sentence and then code appears, you want to learn actual coding. But I, the more I vibe code, the more I feel like I need to understand this a bit more. And I think it's also nice to show this process because there are quite some people that know me that, yeah, I vibe code a lot, and I have a better understanding now of all this coding stuff since I do this for like 2 years now, vibe coding heavily. So you learn, you pick up a few things, but still, I get quite frustrated when I look at a piece of code and a syntax and it doesn't really make sense. And I thought I need to learn more about this. I need to understand more about this. So yeah, this is basically just me. I think this is a Sunday for me, so I'm gonna go maybe for an hour. Let's see how far we get, and I'm gonna show you where we are at the moment. So let me just see how this works. Yeah, I also need to get used to streaming because, well, guess what? I'm not a streamer. Okay, so this is basically the repository that I created, and together with Claude, obviously, because even in these situations, you don't really want to get. So the goal would be the Claude help me get this up, and I started with TypeScript. There's no really reason for it. mostly just because most of the vibe coded project I do it's in some kind of React framework with TypeScript, and I was like, yeah, let's go with that then. And what you missed, so this is just like a catch up to this whole thing. So I have here a small repository with a Claude.md where I just explained, hey, you need to help me, teach me. Basically, he vibe coded this stuff, so Claude generated his own Claude MD here. And then I have a session log which Claude's gonna fill in after each session we do. So basically, I started yesterday with this whole idea that I really want to do it yesterday afternoon. And then I created a few files where I just went into the really basics. Some of the things I knew, some of the things I like obviously encountered during vibe coding, but who the heck looks at AI generated code? Everyone says that, oh, I'm reviewing code. No one's going to review AI code. It's basically impossible, I think. So yeah, then Claude generated these reviews. So what we did in the first session with Claude, yeah, basically went through the basics. He recommended to use Bun. I'm more familiar with PMPM and NPM as package managers. So yeah, he recommended Bun because it's easier. According to him, looks like it is, okay? And then we just went with the really basics like if and else and some kind of error handling, and he even explained to me some editor shortcuts that I didn't know about before. And then session 2 was a bit more into the stuff, so using like the difference between 3 times equals and 2 times equals, which is something I learned that this is there but you never use it. Basically, when you do TypeScript, you only use this. And then today I went on to like extra stuff with creating types and arrays and objects and stuff like that, using for each and map and also join. And then after that, Claude recommended it. Basically, he said we are ready to do actually something better, because yeah, doing these for loops and stuff like that obviously you need to understand, but if you just do it like in these lessons like this and you run it in the console and then you see something that's nice, because yeah, here in the terminal you can run it. So let's see which one, lesson 4 I guess, and then something like this pops up and then you know that your code is working. So that's nice, because basically the first one here coming from this no, let me just check the code. See, it's nice to understand. Yeah, the first one is calling this function over here, so the introduce function on each user. So that prints out this line, and then the second one is printing out this line. That's basically a function that's I created over here, and it checks if a user is above 30 age, and if it's above 30, then he's gonna show is over 30, and if it's not, then it's gonna show is under. So you can see for Alfred, he said it's over, but for Bob, he said it's under because Bob is 28. So yeah, stuff like this. And then I asked Claude basically, how would a pro rewrite all this? And then he said something like this. So if for whatever reason a pro is watching this stream, let me know in the chat if it's true or not. Would love to learn. But this is what I like. It's basically, yeah, I understand. I know this is nothing. It's a piece of small codes, but the beauty of this is I understand from the very first line to the 29th line exactly each line what it does. If I open a vibe coded project, I have no clue what each line does. So this is nice to see that, hey, I understand this. I made it. I understand. I know what this does. I know what this does. And when I see the terminal output, I also understand, hey, this works. And if something breaks, then probably I can fix it. There's also a session, I think was, I don't know if he noted that one down. No, he didn't. But here, yeah, so this was, I asked Claude, hey, because in the 3B we work with with types and also objects and stuff like that. I had to create all these tasks because usually Claude gives me like small tasks. And then I said to him, everything we learned in this session, create something like that and add a bug. And I need to fix the bug. I need to explain what the bug was. I also need to explain how the code that you wrote here, what it does. And then he created for me this. This is the already fixed one. But what here happened, if I remember correctly, I think he created something like this, which in TypeScript is wrong, because this basically means that, yeah, we just set this variable to true every time, because this means this is always true. And obviously when you run this, then this checks and stuff like that not gonna work, because we already declared here to true. And then I checked that, and I basically all I had to do was just delete this and save the file, because here so the language is so, I guess the language or the syntax or the whole thing is so clever that if you call if and this is already a boolean, then if it's true it will just return true, and if not it just returns false, so you don't have to do stuff like this. And then yeah, that was working, but it was nice that I could ask Claude for this. And I think what's beautiful about this whole AI coding stuff and AI being present is I've always had a problem with learning to code in these coding platforms like Code Academy and you name it, all the other stuff that is out there, because what in my experience, maybe everything changed, but I was always frustrated because I'm a marketeer, not a coder, and I always wanted to learn code. But back in the day when you had no AI, it was like you had to invest a lot of time. I already had a lot of work to do, so it always got somewhere lost in the process. But when every time I started, my problem was that you went into these lessons and then let's go do for loop, and then let's go do this, and then let's go today we learn I don't know, types. And I mean, yeah, you need to understand those things, but it's also immensely boring to do that, and you don't really see. So this is now okay, I did this too, and then I'm like, okay, apple and bread and cheese and then price and stuff, and but where I'm gonna use this in the real life? Hey, I want to do something. And that was always the breaking point for me. I wanted to create something, and then when you went to a website, so you want to create, for example, a web page with something simple, which I'm going to show you right now what we did in the last session with Claude. And then I went there, and you have to know so many other things next to just writing syntax, like how the heck I'm going to start up. So let's look at this one then. I have this here. How am I going to see what is happening here? So all those things, they never explain to you in Code Academy. They just talk about the syntax. But happily, during vibe coding, I learned also how to use the terminal. So I can clear stuff, and I know I can use cd to go to the web folder, because if I run bun dev on the top folder, that's not going to work. So if I run bun over here and I do bun dev, then I can start up the development server, and I can click on this, and then this will start up the browser where I have my little app that I vibe coded. And all this stuff is basically let me just go back. All this stuff, yeah, they never explain it on there, but happily to vibe coding and things like that I learned. And now with coding with Claude, I think learning the basics is also even better. So yeah, that's, I think, enough about the rant. But okay, so this was the last session. He created basically this small project, this scaffold of a project, and then all I had to do in the first one. So what we had here, let me just go to main. So what we had was only this without these stuff. So he only had the button, and I had to add a button which will show my name. So that's this one, the user simple. I renamed it later. And then I had to add a counter, which if I click on the counter, then, so I had to add this counter, and it shows up with my name. And then every time I click the counter goes up by 1, which I did according to Claude, was good. So everyone's happy. And then I had to add back, then I had to add this one. I had to introduce a new button to the index.html file, And if we click that button, then we should show a type, a user list, which I learned obviously in these lessons how to create. So obviously from vibe coding, I already learned a few things. I knew that, hey, I'm gonna be fancy developer. I'm gonna put this in a new file, not gonna clutter everything in the same file. So I know that my users are in this file. Ha, look at me, the pro coder. And then I learned by asking Claude again, how the heck I can export this to that one, and I learned that I can just type it like this, and then I can just import it on the top. Hey, nice. And then I wired up the button, I added it over here, and then all of a sudden the button was working. So I can show you that. So if I go here, show all users, and I click on it, hey, it pops up and it shows up. And then the last one was we just wired in the CSS, which is here in the style, and then he showed me basically how can I work with that. And now that's what we need to follow up. And I'm gonna fire up Claude. He's already fired up, and I'm gonna say, okay, let's continue with the next lesson. So let's see what we gonna learn today. And so here we have a few things that we need to do. Styling, I think we're gonna make it a bit better looking. This is super confusing for me. So he's gonna say, let me see. You've been in a role. Last time you built working web app. Yeah, I recommend form and input. A task to get everything you learned so far. Types, objects, arrays, DOM, and you will actually be able to add new users to a list right from the browser. Very satisfying. Okay, that sounds fun. Okay, so let's go with that one. So this is basically how this works, how I work with Claude. He gives me like tasks and I finish them and I come back, hey, I did it, or I'm stuck here and there. Please give me like a pointer or something. And then Claude just gives me a pointer. And I don't let him do code or stuff. So yeah, this is how it works. So the first one is task number 1. Let's see. Add input fields to your HTML inside the body. Add this block somewhere below your existing stuff. So I need to add an add user into the body. So that's going to be a H2. I'm going to copy this one. Why not? I understand. Funny enough, I understand what that code does. I'm not sure how we can do this fast, but I'm going to do it like this. So this is add user. This is a headline. This is an input field. And this is a button to add the user. And placeholder is the gray hint text that shows before you type anything. Type number makes the browser show number. Keyboard on phones and prevents letters on some browsers. Okay, let's see how that looks now. So we have this. If I go name, go test name, and then 15. If I go add user, I guess nothing happens in the browser. We can check the development server. Here nothing, and here nothing happened. Okay, but we have this, so the element shows up. I think this was task 1. Let's go immediately to task 2. And then he said in task 2, in the main.ts, grab those 3 new elements with element ID, just like you did for the button and output. Store them in a variable. Okay, I know how to do that. So I'm going to need to grab elements from the page. And I need to look for the ID. So that's name input and age input. So I'm going to create a const for them. Going to be, I guess, I'm not sure how the naming goes here, but we can ask Claude. So I'm going to go name input, and then age input, and then I just need to add the element here, which I think it's the same. So let's go here. This is name input, and then this one, and then we just change these to age input. I see a typo here. Okay, so we have the buttons added in, And then I need to add a click listener. I think I'm done with task 1 and 2. Let's see. Give task 1 and 2 a try first. Then run bondev and check the browser to make sure inputs show up. Let me know when you're ready to check your work if anything is confusing. Okay, so let's see the browser. Gonna refresh, but I think it's auto refreshing. So I'm gonna go with John and then 55. And I did this, and not sure if anything happened here. No, because nothing's wired in, obviously. I'm gonna say to Claude, I think. Let me show you the cursor. I think done with 1 and 2. Check it, please. Let's see what he says. Nice work. Both tasks look good. Here's what you nailed. HTML, task 1, all 3 placeholders and gone. Types 2. Yeah, one small thing you missed. You didn't grab the add user button itself. You need that for task 3, so you can attach a click listener to it. Add one more line with the other get element by ID. Well, that was intentional. Because I thought that for task 3, but hey, I guess he's right. I'm not sure over here how would you do this in a pro looking code, because this now looks for me quite messy. But guess this is like the nice thing about coding. So I'm gonna just, buttons are on the top. Grab elements from the page. So I'm gonna go buttons, something like this, I guess. And then I'm gonna go here, elements. I guess. So this gonna be add button. I'm agreeing with his naming convention. And then I'm gonna go here, add btn button. I think that's the ID for that one. Yeah, that's it. Okay, cool. Now task 3, let's see. Add a click listener on the add user button. So we have the button already in the main.ts file. So we need to add a listener to that. And read the name from the inside it. Read the name from the name inputs value. Read the age from the value is always a string. Turn it into a number. Wrap it. So you need to create a new user object with those values, because default for likes coffee, maybe true. Push it into the users array with push. Then re-render the user list, update the inner HTML of user list. This sounds complicated, but let's see. So don't forget, if you are watching this stream, I only vibe coded until now, so I have no freaking clue what the heck I'm doing here. But I need to add a new button, that's for sure. So I'm gonna copy this. Oh shit! I'm gonna copy this part of the code because it's faster. So I'm gonna go here with the add btn. This is already wrong because here I didn't use uppercase, and on all the others we used uppercase. So I'm gonna change this onto uppercase, so it looks nice. No, I'm gonna leave it on, and I'm gonna go this one also. Doesn't look good, does it? You see, when you're web coding, you don't have to mess around with stuff like this because AI just does it for you. But now I need to think about it. Is it good or not good? I think it's good. I think it's good. Let me bring back the side panel. Okay, so we have the button. We listen to a click when the button fires, so that's good until now. And then read the name from the input value. It gives me like hints here with that dot value. I think I need to use that, so I guess how the heck I'm gonna do this? Let me just think about it for a minute. So I need to listen for the name input. So that's gonna be name input dot value. No idea. Do I need this here or not? And what do I put here? Or I leave this just like this? There's an error. Probably it does not exist on type HTML element. But that's the no, because the ID is name input. So that's the button, that's the element I'm getting in. So that's the name I need to use. And then I need to use name input, not value. No. Confusing. Okay, and how can I test this? Can I put this into the terminal? Let's just see. Because he gave me another hint. As a reminder for task 3, inside add buttons, click list, and you need to read name input.value. I have that. Maybe I don't need this here. Okay. And number to get the name and age. So I guess if I can console log this, right? Name input. I guess. And if I go to the browser, let's see what happens here. I'm just gonna go click to the browser. I'm gonna do test. You don't see this, but add user. And if I come back, console log is not a function. So here is something weird happening. I'm gonna ask Claude, give me a pointer on how can I test if the button, if I'm on the right path of reading out the name input value. Don't give too much pointers. Can I use console.log? Oh Jesus, I said typo. Console, maybe now it works. Let me just go back to the dev stuff and do John 33 add user. See now what happens. Nothing. Okay, I still need help. Exactly the right tool for this. Inside your add button, I need the value. Like this. Then open the browser, type a name, click and check the console. Right click the page, choose inspect and click the console tab. It will show up here. Give it a try. So I guess I need to check it in the console here. Something showed up. But it doesn't show up. I guess it does something. I just don't see the user here. Okay, let's go back and figure this out. Something is here wrong. So probably it does not exist on type. So this doesn't exist. Why doesn't it exist? Name input value. I might need a few more pointers. Remember that I never did this, so this is all new to me. But I guess I'm not reading this out here completely. So here I need to somehow still get the value, name input, dot value, I need to change this, but let me just figure this out. Read the name from the... Okay, Got stuck. Give me some pointers. I guess I'm stupid, but hey, someone has to be. Oh, I forgot to. Okay, so you are logging in the whole element, not its value. Change const to const name.input value. I have that. Okay. TypeScript complain about value. You likely see a red squiggly. I do. That's because get element by this and change HTML element, and TypeScript doesn't know it's an input. Only input elements have dot value. You need to tell TypeScript this is an input element by casting it. Never knew about that. So I need to add these two lines. So TypeScript knows that. I have that, no? Const name, yeah, as HTML input element. Oh, I missed this part over here. I don't have this. How the heck would I knew that? HTML input element. Input element. Okay, see, we learned something. I didn't know about this. I had no chance knowing about this. So now this should work. So if I go now to the console and I do this again with John33. Ha! Johnny showed up. Nice. Okay. So when I import with this I tell TypeScript that hey, I am putting some element over there. Okay, cool. So now this works. And now we can also, because we only have the each, so with this one I'm gonna duplicate this and I'm gonna go with each input dot value. With this we're gonna see the age as well. I just need to change this to age input, and if I go now to the browser and I go John33, now it should up. Heh, it does. Nice, cool. Okay, so we now can read the elements, and we can also read out so what the input is from the buttons. Cool. I'm gonna say okay, this works. Now I can go further. Okay, now I need to push this into a go for it. You got the hard part figured out. Reading value from inputs. Now be allowed the rest of the tasks 3 and 4 inside the same click listener. You know all the pieces already. Okay, so let's go back to the task. So I have this now. I need to wrap this in the number. It's always a string, so I need to wrap this. I guess with that one we transforming the thing. I'm not sure if this is going to work like this, but we'll see, I guess. So this works. Now create a new user object with those values. That's something I never did before, so I need to figure that out. But I guess we just gonna push it to the users with those values. Pick a default for liked coffee. Now let's go with maybe true. Okay, push it to the users array with push. So first I need to create the user. It has to be inside this. The console log can stay there for now. So with this I read out the values, and now I need to push those values to the user table, I guess. So if I look at where did I have that one? I haven't done push before, but I think it's gonna be something like this, right? So maybe I need to use something like this. My extended filter is push. No idea. I think so. But why should that be a const? Good question. I guess let's try. Nothing can go wrong if I try it. Const, don't know, new value, new user equals users dot push and dot push, and here we're gonna go with u, just like that function above. So this gonna push. I'm not sure. Should I go with squiggly stuff or without squiggly stuff? And we're gonna push name input to the new user. What? No, this can't be right. I need to declare the type as well. I need more pointers here before I go along the stupid road. Okay. I need more pointers for 3. Task 3. This is not working. Let's see. Okay. You are reading the values, good. Right now they are just floating in the air though. You need to store them so you can use them. Here's your next step in order. Save the values into a variable, like you did with user simple. Okay, so I was on the right track. Const name, const age. Okay, so they are now just here. So I'm gonna go with this const name and const age. Okay. Be the user object from those variables. Remember the shape from a user has a name, age, and a link. You know how to make objects. Push it into the user's array with push. So do I need to make it over here? So I just need to make something like this. How the heck's gonna that work? So I know how to make a user, but and now I'm just doing something like this here. Name? Nah, that's not gonna work. Or I leave it empty. Name, age, gonna go through, I guess. Push it to the user's array with push. Name, age, a user object. But why don't we push it to that user object? So I know I have to make something like this now inside this function. So it's gonna be like this. I know I miss here a few stuff, but we can fix that for now. And I can check this with this, if it's working or not in the console. I have somewhere an error. Then I leave this empty, or now I call here the name, and I call here the age. That looks iffy. I'm not sure if this is going to work or not. Oh my god, let me see in the browser. So what happens if I do this now? Hey, that worked. Okay, it's working. Ha. Don't know why it's working, but it's working. When I ask Claude, is it something like this? Am I on the right track? I'm really close. Okay, impose nice thinking. You need that type. Yeah. Okay. And const name and const age. Perfect. Okay. The object shape is correct. Okay. So I need to do it like this. Okay. I will ask why, but okay. On line 45, you are creating a new array called users. The shadow hides the users array you put on line 1. You are not adding to the existing list, you are making a brand new one with just one person. Instead, you want to make one user object and push it into the new existing users array. So I'm gonna create that change. Okay, so I need to do something like this. Instead of what I did. Now if I try this in the browser, this should show up with the other ones. Yeah. Okay. Now we have John 33 and it likes coffee. Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Nice, makes sense. Okay. But this looks so weird to me. Like, how the heck you do this? This is so weird. Like, you have name, age. I'm not sure if in production that's gonna stand. So I guess you want to do it like cleaner somehow when you are actually in like coding stuff. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this. But this works by the looks of it. It's not, I wouldn't say it looks nice, but it works. Okay, made the change and I see the new user in console. But now I have a button that does something. Now you last make it actually show up on the page. You need to re-render the list after the push. Inside that same click listener, after user push, rebuild the HTML from the full user array. From line, just running it again with the updated array. So this is the same one. So I can use this from here. With a bit of difference from there. I'm actually gonna copy this. Basically solve for me in this case the problem. No, I guess he did. So this one is taking the user list and it's inserting into the HTML. He's using this map. So yeah, this array that I created with the map, and then he is pushing the new list, and then he just joins it just like it's joined on the other one. Over there we don't use the join, but okay, cool. And then if I save this and I go to the browser and I show our users, and then let's do something else. Let's do, I don't know, Gabriel 35, add user. Oh yeah, he shows up. And if I do Tom and 15, then Tom shows up. Magnificent. I did something and I know it works. Sort of knows how it works, but it looks nice. Okay, so we have a button. Let's just recap this. So I have a button that, we have a listener. So this is listening to the click on the HTML page. And these two are grabbing the value with this and storing it under this variable. And then we create a new array called new user. And then this is the structure of it. And then we push it to this new user. So these users we have on the users page, we push the new user there, and then it shows up in the list. Yeah. And then I guess based on vibe coding experience. If you make like a database, then you can even send it to there, and then you save it for ever, because now this is, if I refresh the browser, then all data is gone. Assumption, but I guess that's based on my vibe coding experience. I think that's how it works, I guess. Okay. But now what I don't like here is that we make the likes coffee, we just hard code it. So we need to add something where we can enter the value, like maybe with a check mark. Probably I'm asking too much of myself here with as a noob, but I guess I think we should try. This looks awful. Type number. So let's just copy this and start from based on what we see here. So that's gonna be coffee input. Placeholder gonna be true. I'm not sure this going to work. Type is gonna be Boolean. I need to check the browser. True. Okay. Works. It's not a check mark, but it's halfway there. So okay, so this is good. Then I need to add here the button. So we already have the button, so we don't need to add the button, but I need to add the listener to the HTML element. So this is going to be coffee input, and I forgot the name that I chosen. Oh, it's coffee. So that's why naming convention is important, I guess. Okay, so with this one we listen to the coffee stuff. Now I need to create a new variable that's gonna be likes coffee, and is there like a also like a Boolean stuff? Yeah, there is. And then this gonna be coffee input, and then the value of the coffee input, and then here we can, I guess this looks weird because I named them weird. So if I name this name input, age input, likes coffee input, it still looks awful and weird, but this is gonna be such a long name. But I want to test if my assumption is correct. So this has to be the name input. Name input. Hey, name input. And then this has to be the age input. And then this has to be likes coffee input. Now it looks better because the other code that I had was, oh no, I can't name it the same way because it's the same name over here. Now I understand the naming conventions. Oh Jesus. Yeah, I guess it can be anything, but name from form, this gonna trigger so many people. Age from form. And likes coffee, and then coffee from. Let's not make this even longer. From form. I guess this is not correct in a way that this probably triggers a lot of people, but so now this should work. And now this one is also like variable, so it's not hard coded. Let's see what happens. So now I can go with Tom 33, and then I can go with true. I'm not sure if it has to be uppercase or lowercase. Yeah, that worked. And if I'm gonna go with Jerry, which is 10, so he doesn't like coffee. False. That didn't work. Maybe it has to be false. No. Okay. Something maybe is here wrong, or here wrong. guess maybe it's here wrong. So I'm gonna ask Claude for help. Help me a bit. Help me a bit. I'm trying to make the likes coffee stuff also variable and not hard coded. How far am I? I guess something is here wrong because I'm not sure this works. Yeah, my assumption was correct. Oh yeah, so this has to be checkbox. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Input types are things like text, number, checkbox, etc. For a yes/no choice, like likes coffee, checkbox is the right tool. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I went so stupid. I should have just wrote. I should have just tried with checkbox, but okay. You don't know what you don't know. Okay, so label likes coffee. Also, it needs to get a label. Where should the label go? Input ID coffee input. Oh yeah, so that has to go here, I guess. Type checkbox and then label has to be. No, the label goes somewhere else. This goes under it. Let's see, because this is something I can test. Yeah, that looks good to me. Okay. Does it work or not? It does something. Okay. Fine. And so now we have a checkbox with a label. And then this should work. No Boolean conversion needed. Check this already. Oh, yeah, so that one that I also need to use. So cost. So I need to change this then because this just gonna be coffee input and then checked. So this automatically checks it. Okay, cool. And then the rest should be alright. To such input in HTML with the checkbox label above. So yeah, this should be good then. Let's go to the browser. So now if I go with, so let's first go with John 33 likes coffee, add user. That's a true. Okay, now we're gonna go with Tom. He's 10 and he doesn't like coffee. That should be a false. Yes! Awesome. Cool. Is this working? Yeah. I put, well, I probably, I can't just drag it out of my like little finger. I didn't know that I have to use this. I mean, I should have like figured it out more or less by pure logic that if you type here checkbox, then it's gonna be a checkbox. But hey, also this you never know. So back in the old days, probably you had to go to like Stack Overflow or something like that, and now you can just ask to give you pointers. He gave me a bit of a too much pointer, but anyway, it helped me. So let's just rewrite this. Listens, adds new user. Adds new user to the list. Not the nicest. Okay. So I'm curious how would a pro do this, because this looks too much lines. And what I learned from here, where is it? It's here. Yeah. So what I learned from here is that when you are like a pro, you just try to not write too many lines of code. And I want to learn here two things. So one, explain and show the pro version under my current code of the following. Yeah, I don't use voice. I'm still typing, but yeah, it's, if I use voice, I'm a lot less structured. So if I type, it's easier. One, how should we, so what the naming, correct naming convention. How's that's like? So wait, correct naming convention. I know I messed up what should it be? And then 2 is the the add new user part. I feel like it's a lot of line of code. How would a pro do it? I'm curious about this. Mostly from the naming convention, because this is confusing as hell. So let's see. Your variable name should describe what the thing is, not where it came from. Okay, so name from form tells you the source, but not the meaning. A pro would just call it name and age. So the very first one was correct. Okay, crazy. So yours, yeah. But that's, I'm not sure. But that's so confusing for me, because then here you have to write name, and then age. Likes coffee. I guess it does make sense in some way, because then it's the same. Okay. That sets up something nice in part 2. Okay. So shorter add user code. When the variable name matches the object field name, you can skip the key value part and just okay. So now I understand. Yeah. Okay. So now I understand, because I did this. So I had this. I had name, and then here had age, and then I had here likes coffee, and then I don't know why, but I did then the same thing here, and I was like, this looks awful, because I add the name to name and I add age to age, but it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so now I see. So you can just write this instead, and that's it. So you don't need all this clutter over here. That looks better. Hey, and it's just, where's this then? Maybe he explains. Let me see. Name age shortened, same result. Less repetition. Only works when the variable name and the feed name are the same. Okay. No need for separate user variable. You can build the object right inside the push, since you are not using it anywhere else. Okay, makes sense. So that's why naming convention is important. I guess I learned something new. So this one then is going to become users.push the button, and then I use this, and then I use squiggly brackets, and I need to then just go with name, age, likes coffee. Here we do the semicolon, and this one I guess stays, because that's just the HTML part, so that has to stay. And if I test this now, obviously it should work, but let's just test it with Tom 10 likes coffee, because he's an animal, and that works. And if I go with Emma 2, and then she's 55, she doesn't like coffee, and it still works. Nice. Okay. Oh yeah. So I got confused because I wanted to name it something fancy, but yeah, if you just name it the same damn thing, then you don't need to do all that clutter that I did here. Look at that ugly ass beast. So now I just go with this and then it's done. Okay, cool. Clean the inputs and you're done with lesson 4. What do you mean clearing the inputs in lesson 4? Huh? Did I miss something? Task 4? Where's that one? After adding the user, clear both inputs so they are empty again. You do this by setting value on each input. I don't. Give me task 4. I need some small pointers. Not much. I need to remind him because he's still giving me like way too much information. So let me see. After user push and the re-render, set each input back to empty. Do the same idea for the other two inputs for the checkbox. Think about what empty means for something that's checked unchecked. It's not a string. But why I need to do this? Oh, I guess because in the browser, Oh yeah, so this stays here, and then I can just endlessly click add, and I add the same damn thing multiple times. I guess that's why we need to do that. So the form resets. Okay, let's test it with 1 first. So name input dot value, and it's going to be nothing and semicolon. So if my assumption is correct, and if I go now to the browser and I write here Tom, and I write here 10 or 40, whatever, and I do likes as user, Tom goes away. Ha, cool. Now I need to do that also for the age input. Age input, but that's a number, so I guess this is just this. But it shouldn't go blank. Oh yeah, it should go blank. Age input value, that should be 0. No, it should be just this. Person expected. So he does expect something. Goes this, I guess. Let's try this, but that's a number. I'm getting confused. And the other one is likes coffee, but that's a boolean. So that has to be different. He also said it. So do the same idea for the other two inputs. For the checkbox, think about what empty means for something that's checked, unchecked. It's not a string. Well, it's unchecked. It's false. No? Has to be. What's this? Guess I likes coffee because it is a constant. Oh yeah, I forgot the value. I was confused for a second. Wait, it's not this entire boolean. Did you mean value of? It's unchecked. No. Let me see. I come back to this. Let me see if this works, because I have a strong feeling that also doesn't work. So let's just go with John, and then 55, and then likes coffee, add user. It goes back, so that's good. So that works. Okay, and this has to be unchecked. Does it say here what's that's gonna be? Checkbox? No, doesn't. So this doesn't help me. So a checkbox, that's probably something I don't know. Oh no, value checked. Oh no, that's coffee input, sorry. Coffee input, name input, age input, coffee input, checked, false. Has to be, because a boolean. I was using the wrong name before. So this has to work now, 100%. I wouldn't bet my house on it, but let's see. Tom, 55, likes coffee. Sim console. Yes! It's working. Cool. Ha! Awesome. Okay. Done. Done. Let me see what he is going to tell me. Nailed it. Everything is correct. Haha. Shorten properties line 47. You went with the pro version already. Nice. Yeah, because I copied your answer. Whatever. You figured out that the checkbox is with false not. Both text inputs cleared with. You also adopted the cleaner variable names from the pro version. The hide user feature works. You just built a form that creates real data in the browser. That's a big deal. This is how real web apps work. Want to keep doing some styling validation. So at the point I don't have validation, you say? So if I go now to the browser and I go here with 55 and then I go here with name, like, I don't know. It does some validation because oh yeah, because the HTML type is numbers, so that's why I can't type here the letters. I can type only names, but this, yeah, this shouldn't work. So we need to check this, obviously. Well, that's I think for another one because I'm already an hour into this whole thing. Jesus Christ! With vibe coding, this would have been created for done. um, okay, so this is done, and what I want to check. So let's say this is now. Maybe I can use voice. Um, so let's say now. Oh no, this doesn't work now. Oh yeah, because probably something due to OBS. So it doesn't matter. So let's say this is a production app. I would hook up this add button stuff. What's this called? Listener. Add button listener and push the values to a DB to save it. Or exactly right. That's the idea. Yeah. In a real app, the flow would be user fills in the form and clicks the button. Instead of just user push, you would send data to server. The server saves it to database. The server confirms got it, and then you update the list on the screen. So user push is standing in for what would eventually be a network call. The form reading. So that's where the super base stuff comes in. Awesome. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it today here. This was an hour of streaming, and yeah, was fun. Learned something new. So yeah, cool stuff. Um, if you ever watch this, I'm not sure you're gonna do because it's boring for people that, yeah, in the age of AI. But I am still convinced that there is some value in this. There is some value on learning the basics, the code, um, because what my experience is, the more I vibe coded and the more I really listened to just like people, developers around me, to because I'm not a developer by nature, as you can see, but the more I listened to developers that I work with together, the more I followed like basic stuff. It was also easier to vibe code because I could structure the project in a better way. I could give AI better instructions. I knew in my head what I wanted, even though I didn't understand syntax. But the more I understood how things work together, why it's important to have like nice folders, it's also good for context management and stuff like that. It became a lot easier also to steer AI, and I want to take that to the next level where I think just just doing stuff like this. So just doing stuff like this, it even helps you further because you will understand like the syntax. You will understand a bit more about the code and stuff. You will, yeah. I, I, I'm not sure. I think it helps somewhere. I feel like it helps. I can't prove it at the moment, but I think at some point I will be able to prove it, and then we will see how it helps and how it doesn't help. But I feel like this does help in some way if you understand the roots of these things. It's just like Google Ads, that thing I did for my life. The more you understand the stuff that the algorithm does, how Google works, the better you can make the campaigns, the better you can make everything. So yeah, I think this has some value somewhere. But thanks if you watched, or I'm not even sure if I had any views. I'm also new to this whole streaming thing. Let me just check. How can I check that? Oh, I can check here. Hey, I had 7 views. Jesus Christ. 7 maniacs were watching me for not a long time. 40 seconds in total. That's something. But 7 people came in and they were like, what the heck is this the guy doing? Awesome. I'm already happy. So we tested the stream. I'm gonna check it back how it looks. I think it went alright. And then we did some nice coding. Let me just show that again. We did some nice cool stuff. We added a button and we listened to button and we saved some stuff into a list, and that works. And that is a nice feeling that I figured this out. Some things Claude had to help, and now I have an ugly looking app, but it's mine. And I made 100% of the code with my fingers, and that's a strange feeling in the age of AI and vibe coding. But yeah. Let me know if you have any. I don't know. Why would you have questions to this? But yeah, maybe I create another one like this somewhere when I have time. I'm quite busy with everything else, but I still want to do this. I think when I'm going to learn and go further, I'm going to jump on a stream, show it. Maybe some other people come in and yeah, ask questions. Maybe do it together. Maybe I inspire a few other vibe coders to do stuff like this. Learn. Well, it was cool. Thanks for your attention, and yeah, see you next time, I guess.